happy to be here today. I think all of the speakers before me spoke very well about the nitty-gritties and the technicalities of business and finance. So on my side, I'll just give you a little bit of introduction on who I am. I'm Abdallah Abu-Sheikh. I am the co-founder of Astra. Today, Astra is a multi-billion-dollar business and a few hundred million user platform. But I want to take you back into how we got here. I think when we were putting this together, the guys asked to make this as personal as possible. I've never given a very personal talk before, so bear with me as we do that. While I was thinking about this on my flight into here, I was thinking throughout the past few years of building a multi-billion-dollar business, what is the common denominator I've seen between myself and every other successful entrepreneur that I've met? And I think it all started with most of us not fitting in. I don't think at any given point in my life, whether when I was a toddler or when I was in school or there and afterwards, I don't think I fit in. I was never a good student at school. I never believed in the educational system. I never believed in most of the rules that people set together and said, this is your tunnel, run in your tunnel, keep your eyes closed, don't look around you, and stay in your lane. I never believed in the lanes. And I know maybe a lot of people here feel like they don't fit in their job, they don't fit in their family, they don't fit in their current environment. And I think that is a very healthy sign, as long as you don't ignore it for long enough. I believe we're all born with some sort of disconformity to our realities, but we get so conditioned to it that eventually we believe that this is who we are, while in fact it is what we've become because of conforming with our realities. And I think the second part that I started thinking about is there is always this idea when I talk to people, when I hire people, that somebody is going to come and save your life at some point. That, there is this going to happen, this magical moment in your career or in your time or in your life where everything is going to change and somebody's going to come and something's going to happen. There's going to be that moment where everything changes. And I think that is, I don't know how this fantasy came about, but I think this is one of the most bad misconceptions that I've observed around most people in business or most people in the corporate world. And it's a very big realization when you understand that you will never ever be given anything. Anything that you want from life, you're going to have to go out there and earn. No policy at your company is going to give you what you want. Nothing in the world is going to shape itself to suit your needs. The world only shapes itself for those who make it, and nothing is ever going to be passed on to you. So you're going to have to go out and earn what you want to have from this life. It is never going to be handed down to you. And the reason is very simple. As bad as this sounds, everybody is extremely selfish. And everybody you work around wants what's best for them. So what's best for you, if it does not come from you, it will never be given to you by some weird giver or some magic ecosystem that's going to shape itself for your benefit. And I learned this extremely early through my late father. My late father was one of the most successful entrepreneurs I've met. He grew himself from a guy in a tent into a person running a 30,000 person conglomerate. And that was one of the very first lessons he taught me. He told me, I am not going to give you anything, and the world is not going to give you anything. And I'll read you a part of one of his favorite poems. And I know it's very unlike entrepreneurs to read poetry, but this is something I picked up from my dad. And there's this very good poem called Good Timber. And it says, the tree that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, but stood out on the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. The man who never had to toil to gain and farm his patch of soil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. And this is the story of a lot of people that we see around us. There's always this expectation that somebody's going to pass on something to you, that the world owes you some kind of, because you work hard, because you go to your job every day, because you wake up in the morning, we feel that the world owes us something. While it doesn't. Unless you get out and you earn it, it is never going to be handed out to you. And this took me to my last part of thinking, is everybody's definition of the golden question of what is success, right? Everybody thinks success is some magical metric, or success is $100 million in the bank, or $1 billion that you win. And I want to ask, just by a show of hand, do we believe that somebody who has $1 billion is successful? Just by, consensus. Well, that's great that nobody in this room does, but capitalism does believe that anybody with $1 billion is successful. But the example I always strike to people is, let's imagine a toddler that was born yesterday and they just inherited $1 billion. They've never worked for it, they've never done anything. Which goes to tell you that a person who goes from 0 to $1 billion is successful. A person who starts with $1 billion is not really successful, although they're both at the same end point. And this just stands to say that success is the journey from 0 to $1 billion, or from 0 to anything. And it's not the anything. It's not what you get to. And this is why you find people who have trillions of dollars, like Bezos or Musk or whoever, that still go to work every day, that still earn their share of life every day, because they don't believe that the numerical value of whatever they achieved is success, but they do understand very well that success is the journey you keep taking every day to become or improve on what you already have. The title of my speech is Anti-Fragile. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the term anti-fragile. No? So in life we have three kinds of things. You have fragile things, and those are things that break very quickly. You have not fragile things, and those are things that don't break very quickly. But then you have things that are anti-fragile, and those are things that gain from harm. Those are things that every time you harm, they actually become stronger. And this is what human beings were built to be. We were meant to be anti-fragile beings. We were not meant to be breakable. We're not, hopefully, not all of us are very fragile. We don't break at first instance. A lot of us are not fragile. We don't really break quickly. But what we were meant to be, what we were meant to achieve with our characters, with our lives, with our careers, is anti-fragility. And this is gaining from harm. The days that you go into your job and you lose your work, the day you get a rejection, the day you don't get funding into your company, those are the moments that actually are meant to feed strength into your ecosystem. But unlike what most people take them as, those are moments of weakness. In fact, those are the lessons, those are the moments, those are the things that develop anti-fragility into a person. And this is what makes a person extremely powerful to the point where they can't break. If you develop yourself to gain from harm, not much in life can cause you to go down, and not much in life can take you back into fragility. So I hope everybody here goes back home with the concept of how can I become anti-fragile, and the next time I face a harm or I face a downturn, how can I turn that into a source of strength instead of a source of sadness or a source of fragility. Thank you all very much, and I wish you all a pleasant afternoon.